All right. What's up, everyone? It's your boy GXG. Yep. Let's go. Welcome to the Political Black Pill Chapter 6. The planet's fighting us back. I wanted to talk about climate change in this particular stream, this particular chapter. And I was going to take a long, deep dive into like all the ramifications of climate change and the things that we've done to destroy our planet. So, I was going to go into a long tirade, videos, some articles, what we normally do in the Political Black Pill here. But I decided to make it a change. And this change is simple. I decided to axe a bit of the talking, I want to say talking points, but that's not the correct way. Oh my God. Oh God.
Oh Jesus.
This is a fail after fail, right? I want topics. There's certain topics I wanted to discuss. And these topics ranged from I wanted to get a bit more current, basically. I wanted to show the consequences of what have we done to this planet and how it's, affecting us more and more. So if you like what you see here, you want to join the guild per se. It's called the Propaganda Guild for a reason. Propaganda is just a play on words. Guild because we're a unit, a unified team. Get together. What's going on? And we grow things. We support one another like any guild would. You start a bank. You do quests together, whatnot. This is why the theme of my streams are usually fantasy based, right? I was gonna do anime, but that's so played out most of the time. But you get what I'm saying. Like, of course, we'll have our V2 streams, but that's like later down the line when, the numbers be ups. You know what I'm saying? The numbers be ups, and also game streams, because
With the glass ceiling broken, all the oppressed groups shall prosper, especially the most oppressed group of all, gamers.
It's us gamers. We're the most oppressed group out there. Anyways, for those of you, I should put like a title card up too when I speak about Black Pill. So, why do you call it the Political Black Pill? Why the Black Pill? Because it's time to open our eyes to all the grifters, scammers selling you this system. The system meaning the established system that we deal with today in our Western society. We're not nihilist, we're realist, right? We take the political approach in a pessimistic manner. We criticize media pundits, established or independent, that because they love to make you bend the knee towards this system. And we say don't do it. Look, when it comes to political activism or any activism, any sort of activisms, you're free to do what you want. We're not going to tell you not to vote. We're not going to tell you not to be active. Hell, we say that if you do so, you're better than us. But we take a different pessimistic approach to things. We just sit back, relax, and watch the car crash, right? It's a roller coaster ride. We're dealing with the end stages of capitalism, some say. So what we tell people is, take your jersey off. Stop rooting for these certain teams. Remove your brown shirt, because what we're trying to expose here is one of the ultimate truths is you're being finessed. We don't care if you're conservative. We don't care if you're liberal. These are the mark of the beast designed to basically designate you to which camp that they'll eventually send you off for a quick buck, right? It's what they per se call the duopoly, or the two-party systems. It's just team sports. It's nothing but games, right? So pull up your lawn chair. Like I said before, watch the car crash. This is the Political Black Pill, and I'm your Morpheus GXG. All right, so like I said, returning back to today's topic. I hope this is not going to be too loud. Let's mute it. Oh my God, it is too loud. Oh, there it is. So, why is the planet fighting back on us? It's our own fault. Now, there is a certain paradox that I always think about. I come to think about, right? And it's called the Fermi paradox. Has anyone ever heard of the Fermi paradox? Anyone here an esteemed science connoisseur that can tell us about these paradoxes and these hard questions that we humans on this planet should be asking ourselves? Oh, my apologies. What was the new symbol? Oh my god. I don't know why the highlighted comment did that. So we're gonna make edits on the fly. Okay. Let's fix that up real quick. Oh yeah, that's also. We don't need this music. There's also new alerts. Like I said, I'm going way harder for the fantasy theme in this stream. There you go. The link I pasted. Got you. There's a hamburger and burger. Hammer and burger. What's this? What we got here? I kind of do like. You guys like subtle background music? Is that something you guys like? Let me know, because you like the background lo-fi. Hilarious. That's fucking hilarious. Holy shit. Wow. Wow. That's fucking hilarious. Our aesthetics, right? The things we do to find symbols to please our minds and tickle our brains. Basically said it. Come and take it. That's hilarious. Oh. Something to do. What does the stars mean? A Mary Fat Pat Sock flag as a piece of merch, like a shirt. Would you buy it? Yo. What do the stars mean? There's 9 stars. There's gotta be a reason for that, right? Got to be a reason for that. Let's see. Oh, you know what happened last time I used the lo-fi too? It's what you call it? I got a copyright strike the last stream that we did. Can you believe that? Me? Sesame Stars? That's hilarious. That is fucking hilarious. Oh, by the way, there are new sound effects. You guys want to hear? You guys want to hear? You guys should definitely want to hear it. There are new sound effects. Oh, yeah, your boy did it. I don't really like this lighting color. 1 second, let me change something. Selling the Hasmic to the Americans, so Imagine Burger. Let's go. All right. 1 second. Let me change the color saturation. I'm not really of just like all white. Really is. I like kind of the warm saturation. It really brings out my skin tone. See, it complements my skin tone a lot. A little bit of a warmer color. See if we can change headlight. Oh yeah. I'm also working towards getting like actual lighting for the stream, so the lighting is good, and maybe make it a little bit darker too, so it can kind of like I was thinking also like my poster here, backlight behind it, LED strips or something. Maybe. You doing all that for 5 views, GXC? Yep. I'm doing that for all 5 views. I'm upgrading and upgrading. And I love fucking upgrading. Let's see. I can do this. Yeah. And that destroys. All right. Let's diffuse it a little bit. what? This is more pleasing to the eye. Yeah. Okay. Now, new sound effects. So, I also upgraded that. Yeah, I also updated the just chatting to. It was just you versus me, right? So I changed it up to this instead of what I had last time, and I think I kind of like this. The versus symbol needs probably to be moved a little bit. And don't worry, we're gonna get to the this is a show anyway, so we're gonna get to the actual topic at hand. But yeah, what do you guys think about this? Hey, look, when I'm talking to you, is me versus you, right? This is a case that a reactionary comes in. We gotta shoot the shit towards them. There it is. Let's see. Huh? Huh? We likey or no? All right. Enough diddle daddling. All right. So the new sound effects. Of course, we have F is for Family. This is Bill Burr's.
Oh, Jesus.
Really good. I love that one. Let's see. What else do we got? We also got Biden. Hey, Biden, what do you think about me?
You ain't black.
Oh, okay. Okay, Biden. Then we got Sergeant Gunny. Drill Sergeant Gunny.
Holy Jesus.
I love this one.
What is that? What the fuck is that?
Yeah. And we got Bane. Of course. You're going to have to add Bane in this. I just added shit that I like, okay? If you got anything requested, just send it to me. Join the Discord. Shoot me a DM in Twitter. I'm easy to reach. I'm a small content creator for now, so I'm very easy to reach.
It doesn't matter who we are. What matters is our plan.
So, your boy's going to do his best to implement this during the stream. I'm trying to make it easy and flow correctly. And for those of you who are like, oh man, just get to the fucking topic. Don't worry. We're going to get to the topics. We're going to talk about it. We have time. You can sit back, relax, enjoy a cup of coffee, enjoy warm tea, your nice cold one. And just, listen to me speak to you and tell you sweet, sweet, sweet things. All right. And then the last one, we get extremely fine brain, do 5D chess on the we're in there, okay? So those are the new ones. And if there's anything else that you want to see, I mean here, yeah, hit me up. I would love to add some more. I got plenty of room left. All right. Get away, Trump.
May Allah awaken the people and help them to see the evil doings of Israel and the United States.
Yeah, there it is. There it flipping is. Now, also, like I said before, to keep with the theme, there is newer alerts. So now when a person follows, subscribe, donates, whatever they tickles their fancy. There's now a animation style in comparison to the older, simpler, clean style. And I decided to take the liberty and upgrade more stuff on the stream. Why not? Who doesn't love a high quality stream, right? Who doesn't love that, right? So let's sit back. I like the mosquito farting sound. The mosquito farting sound. Wait, which one? Oh no. Oh no. Someone subscribes. Look at this shit. Look at that cute little guy. Look at that. Look at that. Come on now. You gotta love that shit. Look. Watch. Come on. I kind of the sounds are a little bit too loud. And I'll fix that later. But I had to stream. I can't wait too long. I can't wait. I love you guys. I love coming in and talking to you guys. And we can discuss things, on the regular. Right? And also, if you've noticed, some of your comments are just popping up on screen. especially like we make a good point. There it is. You know, there's bread. Do you see your chat? And if I'm directly talking to you, I'm going to highlight it, right? So, all right. You have a good night, CB. I appreciate you stopping by. Thanks for the tip, Miguel. There it is. See? Beautiful. And I also updated a whole bunch of things on the back end. And we're just going to keep upgrading. We're going to keep grinding, y'all. We're going to grow this guild. We're going to have some a good time, a fun time. You know? And I'm going to make sure that I bring you the entertainment because I am GXG. This is GXG Entertainment. And welcome to GXG's platform. You ever wonder why I call it GXG's platform? Because it's a platform for me and a platform for you. All right? And I'm the entertainer. All right. All right. All right. All right.
Oh, Jesus.
Hurry up. I know. So, the Fermi paradox, right? The Fermi paradox, basically, I'm just going to highlight the Wikipedia article for this, okay? Don't hate me for this, all right? It's Wikipedia. It's the encyclopedia dictionary / everything you can think of for lefties on the internet, all right? If it wasn't for Wikipedia, no lefty would be as intelligent as they are right now. The right doesn't read, okay? All right. Oh, shit. The Fermi paradox is a conflict between the lack of clear, obvious evidence for extraterrestrial life and various highly estimated for their existence. So, basically, the premise of this is intelligent life, like being, trying to find the answer for it, right? So, there have been many attempts to explain the Fermi paradox, primarily suggesting that intelligent extraterrestrial life or beings are extremely rare. This is centralized in a theme that there's a reason why we haven't made contact with an extraterrestrial life, and it's from our own doing. So, multiple scientists, philosophers, astrophysicists, physicists, you know, they contemplate this question. And my challenge is for you to contemplate this question for yourself. Right? So here's the chain of reason for extraterrestrial life. Don't worry. I'm gonna circle this back to more of like, you know, political type stuff. You'll see. You'll see why. There's billions of stars in the Milky Way. It's similar to the sun. Well, depends. Whatever. With a high probability, some of these stars have an Earth-like planets in a circumstellar habitable zone. So, a habitable zone. These stars and their planets much older than the sun. If the Earth is typical, some may have developed intelligent life long ago. Our intelligent life has been long fucking gone here. So, just keep fucking going. You know, don't worry. All you guys have to deal with all these morons around here. You already know what you are. You know what you are.
You're a victim.
You're a victim.
There we go, CSI.
You're a victim. Where you at? Roddenberry is confirmed as a Sardis. Oh, from Star Trek. Star Trek history lines up with the Sardis line of how the future would go. I don't know any of that. I'm probably one of those lack of intelligent life. But follow me here, right? The basis of the Fermi paradox. Fermi paradox is a conflict between the argument that scale and probability seems to favor intelligent life being common in the universe and the total lack of evidence of intelligent life ever been arisen on the Earth, right? Dark equation, and it goes over yada yada yada. So here's one of the. This is the point which we can circle it, right? It's also been known as the Great Filter. Great Filter, in context of the Fermi paradox, is whatever prevents dead matter from giving rise in time and expanding lasting life according to the Cavendish scale. The most commonly agreed upon low probability is abiogenesis, a gradual process of increasing complexity of the first self-replicating molecules by randomly occurring chemical process. All right. For more about the details about this, you're more than welcome to read over this, listen to over this. But we're going to do a quick video. And don't worry, like I said, I'm going to circle all this back to it being political. Okay? And why, in the topic at hand, of why the planet is fighting back at us. It just sort of an epiphany that I had. It you can believe to be true or not true. It's completely up to you. I'm here to entertain you and to try to educate you. So, all right, here we go. So, in this video, shout out the Kazakhstan. I don't know if I So, like I said, I'm going to circle this back to being political. This is more like leaning towards like scientific evidence for intelligent life. We'll get there.
Living things in the entire universe. The observable universe is about 9 billion light years in diameter. There are at least 100 billion galaxies, each with 100 to 1,000 billion stars. Recently, we've learned that planets are very common too. And there are probably trillions and trillions of habitable planets in the universe, which means there should be lots of...
So just, fair use. I'm just trying to be transformative as possible. You don't have to hit me with the copyright claim. So, this just goes into probabilities. I want to get into is the great filter portion. Let's see. All right, I think it's this part right here.
This is the Fermi paradox, and nobody has an answer to it. But we do have some ideas. Let's talk about filters. A filter in this context represents a barrier that is really hard for life to overcome. They come in various degrees of scary. 1. There are great filters, and we have passed them. Maybe it is way harder for complex life to develop than we think. The process allowing life to begin hasn't yet been completely figured out, and the conditions required may be really complicated. Maybe
in essence, we are a miracle. We are all a miracle that happened. Life on Earth, everything that fell into place, is all by, some people believe to say, a designer, God, if you will. Some people say like, hey, it's just the probability of it lined up statistically. The math lines up, the science lined up, and we're here, right? But there's something that that's been plaguing me for a while now. And this thing that's been plaguing me, this idea and this notion as if we haven't really accelerated as fast technologically. I mean, there's signs of it, but as fast as one can be led to believe, right? We're not idiots. Human species are not dumb per se, right? There's some great examples of dumb people out there, but it seems like we are all. My epiphany about this great filter, and it's from this video, is just how we think of things outside of our control outside of our control is what's going to cause us to all basically be extinct or be wiped out. But the more and more I thought about it, the more and more I think to myself, what if we are our own great filter? What if all the things that we're trying to hold dear, and all the ideas that we have constructed in this life on this planet, it's the reason why we haven't really accelerated, right? And this circulars back to be political. The notion of infinite growth, the notion of infinite growth with a planet with finite resources. We're consuming more and more than what our planet is capable of replenishing, right? And we're also in line with destroying it, right? And we're causing a global catastrophe in the likes of our species have never seen. You see how I'm circling back to being political, and the greatest filter of us, us as a species evolving from what we are today, especially mentally, is ourselves, right? It's our tribalistic notions. It's our us finding reasoning to fight each other over the smallest minuscule things, right? Difference in ideologies, difference in skin tone, difference in any difference of perception that causes a person to jolt back in disgust or in fear. this is what I've been contemplating for a while. What if we are our own great filter? We are holding our own selves back, Chris. I should say. Maybe that's the cause of it.
In the past, the universe was way more hostile, and only recently have things cooled down to make complex life possible.
So this is one thing I wanted to just set up the premise of that, right? The Earth is fighting back. There's many things that's been going on. Many things have been going on. I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, is that a good analysis of the situation? Is that a good interpretation of something that's more in line with like an extraterrestrial life, and just like circling it back to this topic that we're talking about, that we are our own great filter, and at a certain point that we've like damaged our planet more than enough that it decides to get rid of us, right, and to fight back. And we can go into some examples of what happened if we were gone, right? What happened? So let's stick with the topic of climate change for now, right? And then we can go into a little bit more current news. But these are the things that we are causing. These are some examples of the harm we're causing the planet, right? So the first thing we're doing is how, like I stated before, how undeniably we are reaping more than what we sow, right? We're exhausting our resources faster and faster and faster. And not only that, a handful of people are making it this way, right? And we're allowing this to happen. Literally, we're just sitting on our asses and doing nothing, right? We're failing every day as a species if we don't do something about this, right? The few elites at the top are ruling everything. They're reaping all the benefits. And while we just sit on our asses and just bicker amongst one another, and they're just taking more and more and more and more and more, But you are considered the parasite if you decide to ask for more than a breadcrumb. You are a parasite if you decide to ask for fair conditions for your life, right? Fair material conditions, especially in the Western world where everyone is an embarrassed millionaire. Anyways, so sticking with climate change, the topic again. Nat Geo is like notorious for for copywriting, right? Yeah, I think it is. Okay, that's fine. Give me a second. Why?
To overpopulation are driving up the Earth's temperature and fundamentally changing the world around us. The main cause is a phenomenon known as the greenhouse effect. Gases in the atmosphere, such as water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and chlorofluorocarbons, will industrial revolution, increasing the Earth's temperature. Human activities, like the burning of fossil fuels, have increased the amount of CO2 in the atmosphere by more than a third since the Industrial Revolution. The rapid increase in greenhouse gases in the atmosphere has warmed the planet at an alarming rate. While Earth's climate has fluctuated in the past, atmospheric carbon dioxide hasn't reached today's levels in hundreds of thousands of years. Climate change has consequences for our oceans, our weather, our food sources, and our health.
So these are the four main important things that have been going on. Planet is fighting back, like I said. I'm going to keep saying that. Just keep saying that. We don't know what specifically the future holds for us, but we can predict it in a damn near accurate rate. We can get damn close to what's actually going to happen. More and more people like to position themselves or their arguments to say like, hey, it's been decades since your last prediction of basically global catastrophe. But what's going on is it's going on slowly, right? All the effects of climate change is something that's gradual. It's never instant. Most people like to point at like the instance of things happening. It's just not the case. It's just not going to happen that way, right? It's the pot and it's a frog in a boiling pot, right?
Ice sheets, such as Greenland and Antarctica, are melting. The extra water that was once held in glaciers causes sea levels to rise and spills out of the oceans, flooding coastal regions. Warmer temperatures also make weather more extreme. This means not only more intense major storms, floods, and heavy snowfall, but also longer and more frequent droughts.
The earth is fighting back. You know, these are all the consequences of our own actions. But then the earth is answering those, you know, answering the damage we're causing, it, answering the extinction level events that we're causing, answering, you know, our greediness, right? This is our punishment for this.
These changes in weather pose challenges. Growing crops becomes more difficult. The areas
Food shortages has been going on. You know, not only, you know, issues with the supply chain, but there's also climate changes happen, right? These effects are compounding, right? This is compounding on top of us. And it's just going to get worse every year. Every year. All right? All right? But you don't have to listen to me. You don't have to.
I'm just an average guy who read public documents where the elite said they were going to enslave us and destroy America. And I'm not going to be like yuppie scum and deny the threat to my country. I'm going to fight back.
Yeah. Yeah. This is yeah. You don't have to listen to me, but yeah, this is the effects. This is the earth fighting back. This is our planet
where
fighting
plants
back.
and animals can live, shift, and water supplies are diminished. In addition to creating new agricultural challenges, climate change can directly affect people's physical health. In urban areas, the warmer atmosphere creates an environment that traps and increases the amount of smog. This is because smog contains ozone particles, which increase rapidly at higher temperatures. Exposure to higher levels of smog can cause health problems such as asthma, heart disease, and lung cancer. While the rapid rate of climate change is causing...
Not only we are eating ourselves to an early grave, but the structure of our own society, our own infrastructure is causing us harm. But we do nothing about it because what we worship is convenience in this country. That's all we do is worship convenience. At the behest of anyone in our way, we're trying to find a method to convenience ourselves, right? To find some sort of level of comfort, right? Our living standards are too obscure and too obscene, right? We consume way too much, right? We don't need as much as we think we do. But, hey, a lot of people think that this should be the normal or the standard. But there's no other way.
Oh, Jesus.
There's no other way of living, right? Just fucking straight up.
Emotional damage.
Just straight up emotional damage. What do you think, Biden?
You ain't black.
Oh, okay. Okay, Biden.
by humans, humans are also the ones who can combat it. If we work to replace fossil fuels with renewable energy sources like solar and wind, which don't produce greenhouse...
Yeah. Anyways, you already know the feel good stories. You know, something that might not ever happen until the very last minute. Until the finger's on the button. But I want to implore you. Let's talk about how the Earth's geography would change with climate change.
This video was made possible by CuriosityStream. Get an annual subscription.
Real Life Lore is a good channel. If you want to subscribe to him, subscribe. Also, fair use. I'm also on YouTube as well. So hopefully, we don't get a copyright claim.
Including access to Nebula for just $12 a year for a limited time at let's say 4 degrees Celsius by the end of the 21st century. How will that change our planet's geography, and how will it change all of our daily lives? For starters, the scenario is based on a map created by a guy named Parag Khanna in his book Connectography, which was published 4 years ago back in 2016, the link for which is down in the description. Now in the book, Khanna created this map that shows what a speculative world would look like that's 4 degrees Celsius warmer, and there's a lot of interesting implications to unpack here. First off, the bad news. Most of the world is now a desert, which sucks. Just look at how much sand there is on this map now, jeez. deserts. Every continent in the world is now home to massive deserts, and Africa is effectively an entire desert continent. Extreme weather, droughts, and floods render most of the rest of Earth's surface uninhabitable in their own ways, and the only habitable zones left on the planet are the narrow bands of land closer to the poles. So here's a list of the most heavily screwed over countries in the world and what would happen to them in this scenario, followed by the countries that might actually be kind of okay and maybe actually benefit the most. China.
There's a common theme of common theme. There's something in common. This is what I should say of these countries that will survive this climate catastrophe. I hope you can spot it out. Hopefully they'll tell you why.
China, almost entirely an uninhabitable desert. The Yellow and Yangtze rivers dry up and intense weather erodes much of the land away, which leaves behind a vast and sparsely populated desert. Almost everybody living here will have to evacuate, which is over 1.4 billion people. The same thing will happen in Korea and Japan too, which also effectively become hot, uninhabitable deserts. Indonesia.
Think about that immigration. 1.4 billion people. Conservatives' heads would explode. It would explode. Conservatives' heads would explode. You would just see people, you would see racism ramp up in the likes you've never seen. It would be terrible. You would just stare at your fucking TV. You just decide, I'm going to watch Fox News and just, see what the hell the reactionaries are treating, what the ghouls are saying. And your jaw's going to drop watching the TV. And you're going to remember this.
Holy Jesus. What is that? What the fuck is that?
You're going to be fucking... Oh, man. Are we going to still be alive? That's the question. Probably not. Most of us probably perish, right? Who knows?
Significant parts of the island chain are submerged underwater from rising sea levels. Borneo becomes a desert, and the rest of the islands are plagued by extreme weather and floods. Most of the islands in Polynesia, gone. Just gone. All underwater. 100% evacuation of the populations are necessary. The Indian subcontinent, Bangladesh.
100% of the world's population has to evacuate. And it's become absolutely necessary for our species to survive. But we're arguing on Twitter on who should be the next president in 2024. Who's going to lead us to this catastrophe, right? Who's going to be armored band holding the American flag, standing up on the rowboat and leading us 300, I think it was 300 million plus Americans across the river. Depends if you're white or black. It depends if you're a Republican, who's the president. All this other stuff we use just to be divisive, right? We don't look at the species as a whole because we are tribalistic in nature for some odd fucking reason that we haven't evolutionized from that. Maybe it's more difficult. Well, of course, the argument from that was we have hundreds of thousands of basically genetic code from way back yonder, our ancestors, how they had to think the way we do just to survive, right? But it's curious. I'm curious to see the immigration crisis is going to come about from the Earth fighting us back. Look at that. Look at that. Come on. Come on. See? You see how it is?
It doesn't matter who we are. What matters is our plan.
Come on now. Just Joe Biden, what do you think?
You ain't black.
Oh, you gonna say anything else besides that?
Bangladesh is almost entirely flooded and underwater from rising sea levels, meaning that almost all of the 160 million plus people who live here will have to be relocated. Most of the glaciers in the Himalayas have melted, which contributes to mighty rivers like the Ganges and the Indus to dry up. Most of India becomes a desert with only a tiny habitable area in the far south still remaining suitable for agriculture and human life. Pakistan is plagued by severe droughts after the Indus dries up. meaning that only isolated pockets of human communities will be able to continue existing here. Most of the population will have to be relocated elsewhere. Africa is now an entire desert continent, but with some potential to reforest the Sahel. Africa's entire population will have to either concentrate into just the Sahel or evacuate to the more habitable zones on other continents. South America is mostly pretty screwed. The Amazon rainforest is destroyed and transforms into a massive desert. The glaciers hide.
That's already happening now. That's already happening now. That's literally, I'm not gonna say literally, what I can figuratively say is happening now. They're already cutting down a massive portion of the Amazon rainforest for agriculture. Big agriculture. Holy shit.
Oh, Jesus.
Agriculture. You know, it's going to happen pretty soon. It's sad that we may see this very scenario happen within our lifetimes. Massive immigration flux is going to cause upheaval in the habitable countries. You don't think that right now the whole idea of building a wall is a crazy, ludicrous notion, a waste of money. But imagine if you were living, well, wait until you're living in this sort of world. You don't think that those bigoted people or those bigoted ways are going to be more and more of the norm?
In the Andes mostly melt away, just like in the Himalayas, leaving areas like Peru a dry and uninhabitable wasteland. Brazil is plagued by deserts, floods, and droughts and will have to mostly be evacuated. The only part of South America that will be productive and remain highly livable is the far southern reaches of Patagonia in Chile and Argentina. Patagonia is sparsely
Let's go, Chile!
populated and cold today, but the warming climate and the melting glaciers will give rise to plentiful arable land that could be well suited to agriculture and human life. So most of South America's population will have to either concentrate down just here or flee to other continents. Now, Australia is interesting because it's not all bad. The East Coast, where most of the population is concentrated today, would be totally desertified and most people there would have to evacuate. But new habitable areas that are better for agriculture and development would pop up in northern Australia and Tasmania, while the West Coast would become a pretty ideal place to regrow some forests. New Zealand, on the other hand,
let's think about this, right? Doesn't most of the population in Australia live in the east? Does anyone know if most of the population in Australia live on the west side or the east side? That's a different story. Down under. Let's see what happens down under, okay? I wish I could play like literal music that not some lame stupid shit. Let's see. I think that map is probably way too hard to read. This climate zones. Right, I just want to look at population. Here we go. Now, I don't know if you guys can see that. Okay. Brisbane, Sydney, Canberra, Hobart, Melbourne. The only two are Darwin and Perth, which are going to be perfectly fine. Where you at? Most of this is going to be desert, so these are the highly populated areas. And like these areas here are known to host a lot of Aborigines. So they're going to have a huge problem there too. Where the inverse is going to happen. You know, where the local population is going to... we'll see when we get there.
will be almost entirely unrecognizable from what it looks like today. The islands will be one of the few truly habitable locations remaining on the planet, and tens of millions of refugees from across the world will probably end up having to be resettled here. New Zealand will probably end up becoming one of the most densely populated areas in the world, with massive cities, and the country will likely rise up to the status of a global great power. But other great powers will exist in this new, warmer world too. The United States, while severely weak.
All right.
May Allah awaken the people and help them to see the evil doings of Israel and the United States.
We also hit a major milestone too. I just got updated from Twitch. So we hit 2 milestones today. Look at that, guys. Look at, come on, bruh. We're just doing, bro. We're just gonna go. Let's go. Just hit a major milestone. 8,000 views total, especially in a small channel like mine. And also 1,000 hours streamed. Of course. You should be doing more than that, G. My life is extremely busy. So, and I love streaming. It's a it's a beautiful hobby. It's a beautiful hobby. We should, very beautiful hobby. So, hey, look.
It doesn't matter who we are.
Matter.
What matters is our plan.
It's all good. I can hear some people in the background.
God!
Some background right now.
No!
Not
God,
GXG.
Please, no!
Not
no!
GXG.
No!
He can't get up there. He won't get to the top. All right? All right. Biden.
You ain't black.
Okay. So you think you were going to say anything different?
Weakened by most of her territory transforming into a desert, will likely still remain at least a great power because of Alaska and the far northern states. States like Washington, Montana, North Dakota, Minnesota, and Wisconsin will still remain habitable and be highly suitable for agriculture, while Alaska will suddenly become extremely pleasant. Most of the American population will have to be relocated to these handful of states, but Alaska is enormous, and it's
I don't want to. Oh, God. See, this is another thing. If you really want Americans to fucking change and not, and like actually take climate change seriously, all you got to tell them is like, hey, if we don't do something about this, most of you motherfuckers are about to be Canadian and live in Alaska too. You know how quick people will fucking just.
Holy Jesus.
As soon as you tell them that, you know you're gonna become your great grandkids or your grandchildren, not great grandchildren. What the fuck am I saying? Your grandchildren and possibly you are gonna become Canadian.
Holy Jesus.
And you have to live in fucking Alaska.
Holy Jesus.
Yeah. Think about that. You sure you want to buy that gigantic diesel truck now?
Oh, Jesus.
Huh? You sure you want to?
Really him. You're a victim.
There we go.
I know, right? Have you seen people in Alaska? Have you seen the shows? This is cool. I think there's it's cool police. Show me what the fuck? Oh my God. Cool police show. Back in the day, I used to like this police show. Basically cops in Alaska. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay. All right.
mostly uninhabited today. It's almost 1/3 of the size of the lower 48 US states, all on its own,
too excited,
and with
right?
a warmer climate. Alaska could actually be used for farming. It's also rich in natural resources like oil that would be more easily accessible, and it could probably end up sustaining tens of millions of people living there. So just like New Zealand, Alaska would be unrecognizable to what it looks like today, with massive cities home to probably hundreds of millions of people, Anchorage, Fairbanks, Seattle, and Minneapolis would probably become the new most significant cities in the United States, a country that would probably diminish in power, but likely still remain at least a great power. Over in Europe, the UK and Ireland would still remain highly habitable with a climate that probably more resembles southern France or Spain today. And just like New Zealand and the United States, the UK would probably be one of the warmer New World's great powers. But newer great powers would emerge from the Nordic countries. Denmark, Norway, Sweden, Finland, and Iceland would all find themselves in a very strategic position with significantly warmer climates than today.
Didn't Norway and Denmark join NATO? What was the countries that joined NATO again? Huh?
Ooh, nobody gives a shit.
Okay. That was just for fun. What was the who just joined NATO right now, okay? Basically causing more and more global tensions. Sweden, right? Finland and Sweden. I am not watching 2 hours of the U.S. Senate.
To Russia, the U.S. Senate on Wednesday overwhelmingly voted to let Finland and Sweden join NATO, the most significant expansion of the 30-member alliance since the 1990s.
On this vote, the yeas are 95, the nays are 1.
The Senate easily surpassed the two-thirds majority required in the 100-member chamber to ratify Sweden's and Finland's entry documents. Senators from both parties strongly endorsed their membership into the U.S.-led alliance. Minnesota Democrat Amy Klobuchar spoke before the vote.
Russia's unprovoked aggression in Ukraine has changed how we think about the world's security.
Homegirl said,
It doesn't matter who we are. What matters is our plan.
yeah, that's going on. It's happening. It's happening. They want it. They want that. They want WW3 badly. They want it badly. They want it badly. Oh God, they are cooming every single day. They have those fucking defense contractors or the defense company stocks, and they need the line to go up. Sacrificing your children, sacrificing your brothers or sisters, your loved ones. Oh, that shit don't matter. The only thing that matters is line goes up. Zero added, comma added to bank account. All right? That's all that matters to them. And all you hear is
Lies. Oh, lies! That's why I strongly support the decision of these two great democracies, Sweden and Finland, to join the most important and defensive alliance in the world, NATO.
Missouri.
There's a book that I got too. I want to show you. I want to show you guys. There's a book, right? Because I've always been curious, right? Let me see. Let me pull this up real quick. Let me pull this up. All right, let me find this real quick. I gotta find it. There was something that I was very curious about. So I decided to look it up, right? The Dutch's slave trade. Like other European maritime nations, the Dutches were quick involving themselves in the transatlantic slave trade. And we've all heard about the transatlantic slave trade. And I was curious, like, what The Dutch transported about 500,000 Africans across the Atlantic. Large numbers were taken to small islands in Katakura and South Eustis. I think this was in the Caribbean. Most Africans landed there, however, it was Jesus Christ. I just can't fucking talk. Subsequently transshipped to Spanish colonies. 2 islands with Dutch. Anyways, this just basically got me curious, and I decided to purchase a book. All right, let me show the book. We're gonna get back to the topic. I'm gonna show you that I read, okay? We're gonna go back to the topic. I just want to show you that I read. So, Riding the Wave. Riding the Wave. Sweden's integration into the imperialist world system. Right? The Scandinavian countries, particularly Sweden, are capitalistic welfare states which provide high standards of living and social security for their nation's citizens. Sweden, is regarded as progressive. It is often invoked as a showcase of capitalism with a human face, but is not being described as outright socialist. These are the accomplishments of social democracy, social democratic parties, supported by the strong trade union movement. However, such claims only make sense if one takes imperialism out of the equation. Why is this out of focus? Come on. I don't know why it's doing it. Why are you doing this right now? Look at this. Look at this focus. What's going on? I was reading some dope shit. Come on. Lord have mercy. Fucking autofocus, man. If it's not one thing, it's another. All right, cool. The book that I got, this book tells another story about how Sweden rides on the wave of colonialism and imperialism, how it's integrated as a core state to global capitalism, and how the Swedish people's home has been paid for by value transfer from global production chains stretching throughout the global South. This is also the story of social democracies and how the struggle in the second international between two lines, one reformist, nationalist, and pro-imperialist, the other internationalist and anti-imperialist, remains relevant to this day. So this book is written by Torkild Lusson. Don't know much about the author, but I was extremely curious because a lot of democratic socialists and in general, people who identify themselves to be that, they point out to these countries about being the bastion of a perfect democracy, a perfect economic structure. Well, not perfect, but near perfect. So my skeptic side of my brain was like, let me learn a little bit more about these countries that we're supposed to look up to, and question yourselves. Question. Always ask questions. Be skeptical. And I ask myself, like, why? What makes these countries so rich in a way? Like, what's the difference? Let me learn a little bit more history about it. What is their social structure? How do they keep up this facade? That's the question I was going to ask. You know, it's part of being politically blackpilled, right? That's one of the symptoms of this pill that you take. Okay. All right. Now, back to the video.
Republican.
Oh yeah. This can only lead into chaos. By the way, you just keep poking and prodding the bear. I don't know why they're deciding to expand NATO so much. Well, we can infer that this is just like basically American imperialism, stretching as far out as it can reach until, it hits, so it interacts with Russia in a sort of way that certain corporations, multinational corporations, and the people who head them hedge their bets against certain countries so they can win in the capitalist game of life. more commas, line goes up higher. Multiple millions and millions of people are lost out, starved, deprived, deleted, and but they haven't mentioned besides poolside, the ultimate exploitation, that be it war, right?
Josh Hawley was the lone vote against the motion.
Expanding NATO will require more United States forces in Europe. More manpower, more firepower, more resources, more spending. And not just now, but over the long haul. Our foreign policy should be about protecting the United States, our freedoms, our people, our way of life. And expanding NATO, I believe, would not do that.
Helsinki and Stockholm applied for membership after Russia's invasion of Ukraine in February. Moscow has repeatedly warned both countries against joining the alliance. Up until now, the two have been able to participate in NATO meetings and have greater access to their intelligence. But they are not protected by Article 5, which states that an attack on one NATO ally is an attack against all. Last month, all 30 NATO allies signed the accession protocol. And once all members ratify the decision, the pair will become the newest members of the nuclear-armed alliance, as well as be protected under Article 5. But ratification could take up to a year. However, it has already been approved by a few countries, including Canada, Germany, and Italy.
Poking and prodding our so-called foes. There has to be an end goal to this, right? There really has to be. And this is another part of how the planet is fighting back, using ourselves against ourselves. What greater threat to the human species, the Homo sapiens, than other Homo sapiens, right? As the human greed knows is endless. It knows no bounds. Human greed will often cause you to harm one another. Hurt your father, hurt your mother, hurt your sister, hurt your brother, hurt your cousins, hurt your nephews, hurt your second cousins. A global civil war, if per se, for the finite resources that are available, because ultra greedy ghouls need more, right? And you have some, and your sum is just enough for them to keep going for the year. But then it keeps piling up. War is a good method to transfer the resources and the wealth of the less fortunate, less economically stable, and the most how do I say this, meek and of our kind. So look out for that, huh? Really listen to the rumblings, the whistling of the wind, right? The rumbling of rumors. Just listen out for that. Be cautious. Be careful, because these people. I said this not too long ago, and it's a revelation. It's one of the most frightening revelations that I've ever had. And that revelation is this: we are only one bad day from a nuclear holocaust. Oh, of course. Yeah, did you hear that? Of course, right? That is super loud, isn't it? Gotta lower that down. We are only one person's one bad day, one spilled milk from a nuclear holocaust. Have you ever encountered, let's say this, you ever had a day where you're at work, right? And you're chummy with your coworkers, right? You guys talk, you guys shoot the shit, you know, like there are days like you laugh, you got inside jokes, you know, you grind it out of this terrible exploitative labor that you have to grind through every day, punch in, punch out, stare at a screen all day, right? You ever had those days when your coworker just flips out, just like has a bad day and doesn't really know how to control their emotion, so they decide that everyone else is supposed to get it, you know, having a bad day at home, and you know the result of that is them ignoring you or like lashing out on you, and just, you know, you would know this coworker for years, right? You would know, and what I'm saying is coworkers, because there's some level of detachment. I'm not saying family, right? Because let's face it, most of the leaders, you can kind of, it's kind of a better analogy, because most of your leaders are detached from you to a large degree, right? Kind of like a coworker, right? You're not friends outside of work, but you see each other at work and you pretend to play friends. You pretend to like sing along to certain songs, joke, have, you know, like I said before, inside jokes, and you know, talk shit behind the boss's back together, whatever the case may be. But whatever, one day you or your coworker will have a bad day, and the whole 5 years of wonderful friendship and bonding just falls apart. Now, your president can have that one bad day, can read that one Twitter comment that just says, you know what? Fuck it. If I have to deal with this shit, you all have to deal with this shit. Matter of fact, I'm pressing the button. You're just gonna stare at the screen and look. You'll have about 5 minutes. In every news station will just turn to every ballistic nuclear armed missile flying across the air, like the biggest fireworks display you ever seen. The last Independence Day. Not just your country, but the planet itself. And
Holy Jesus.
It's over. And that's just one person's one bad day, because we decided to, you know, created this type of weaponry that can annihilate the whole planet in seconds. Failure. What you think about that, Biden?
You ain't black.
Oh, okay. One person's
emotional damage.
It's the destruction of this planet. Anyways, let's go back to the video of that we were watching earlier of how the Earth is going to change. We didn't stay and finish this. You know, I'm kind of enjoying this. You know, I hope you guys are too.
Better prospects for farming.
Wake up!
A highly strategic location near the now summer ice-free Arctic Ocean. All of the Nordic countries would have potential to achieve great power status with enough room for tens of millions of new people to settle in each. But the one in the best position is probably Denmark because of their ownership over Greenland. Greenland is gigantic, but it's extremely underdeveloped today, with only 56,000 people living there because it's mostly all covered in a huge ice sheet.
Why? Why do people do this to themselves? Why do they do this? Why are you living there? Huh? Is it because your ancestors saw the writing on the wall? Oh, the writing on the ice? And just said, fuck this shit. We're going to stay here because eventually shit gets better. That's like the ultimate real estate investment right there. You know what? I'm going to invest in properties in Greenland. It's probably the best five-head move. You know what I'm saying?
It doesn't matter who we are. What matters is our plan.
You know, that's what the grandfather said. It doesn't matter who we are. It just matters what our plan is. We know you fucks are gonna fuck up. I just spilled tea over myself. We know it.
In this warmer climate, though, Greenland's ice sheet would be rapidly melting, which would reveal an almost new world for colonization and resource exploitation. Greenland would rapidly be becoming very habitable and pleasant to live on, particularly on the west coast of the island, where Denmark could resettle tens of millions of people from across the world on. Denmark's overall population could, therefore, soar into the hundreds of millions potentially, depending on how much of Greenland is opened up by the retreating ice sheet. On their own, the Nordic countries will each become the new major European great powers at the expense of other countries turning largely into deserts like Spain, Italy, France, or even Germany, and other countries going underwater like the Netherlands and Belgium. If the Nordics can manage to overcome their differences and unite in the warmer world, it's highly likely that they would become a legitimate global superpower. But there would still be two other countries.
I'm just gonna say this. Is global warming racist? Because all the white cold countries are gonna survive, but all the brown and black countries are just gonna burn and turn into deserts.
Oh, Jesus.
It's this shit is hard, bro. This shit is hard. It's kind of like on that South Park game, The Fractured But Whole. Or I think the previous one too, where your difficulty is your race that you select. It's a meme about it, but holy fuck. It's such good satire.
Be in an even better position to become superpowers. Canada and Russia. Just take a look at all of this nice, warm, and habitable land that both countries would control that's mostly a frozen hellhole today. Nearly all of Canada would become nice and pleasant with an ideal farming climate that could grow most of the world's crops. The Arctic Passage, meanwhile, would be free of ice year-round, and with most of the world's population now living around the Arctic Circle in Canada, Alaska, the Nordic states, and Russia, the Arctic Passage is without a doubt going to become the new most valuable trade route in the entire world that connects them all together. Canada's population today is only 37 million people, and the overwhelming majority of all of this land is uninhabited. So if she wishes, Canada could open up the floodgates of resettlement and immigration and resettle hundreds of millions of people from
This is just like an imperialist, capitalist, hegemonic, narcissistic, egoist, Georgist dream, right? Just let everything burn up, and all we're gonna do is just move to Canada, right? That's the solution. We just move to Canada. No one really talks about what happens after the warming of the earth, right? No one really talks about the global cooling after the global warming. And I know some of you guys do not fucking love the cold, because I don't.
Across the world into all of this open land that will now actually be easy to develop. Canada's superpower status would be almost assured in the long run, and she would likely simply replace the United States on the world stage. Meanwhile, the country that would be somehow in an even better position to claim superpower status would be Russia. Russia has even more land than Canada, and even more of this land would become warmer and suitable for agriculture and mining.
Commies are being like, I try to tell you. I try to fucking tell you. Try to tell you.
I'm just an average guy who read public documents where the elite said they were going to enslave us and destroy America, and I'm not going to be like yuppie scum and deny the threat to my country. I'm going to fight back.
Wait. This is just a short epiphany, right? So is that the reason why we're continually to like provoke Russia? Or we continue to expand and slowly move out eastward? Because the elites and the global elites know that the planet, there's no turning back from the damage we've done to this planet. So why not slowly but surely try to take over the countries that are gonna become habitable sooner than later? Huh? Why not go ahead and sacrifice a few people? Just keep convincing these other strategically important countries, especially for the future outcome, that like now is the time to join our crusade against these other countries who resist our expansion, our imperialist expansion.
It doesn't matter who we are. What matters is our plan.
That's all that matters. Huh? I'm just saying. It may be incorrect, right?
Syria is.
Oh, you also like that call you like that? That should be bigger though. I'll fix that later.
Enormous, and it's rich with resources that are hard to get to right now because of the cold climate. But that drastically changes under this scenario. The biggest problems preventing Russia from becoming a more significant power than she could be have always been the cold climate that she finds herself trapped in. Russia has historically almost always been an effectively landlocked state because most of her coastline is covered by ice for a significant part of the year. In modern times, the only ports that Russia controls that are ice-free year-round are in Kaliningrad on the Baltic and the Crimean Caucasus ports on the Black Sea. The problem has always been, though, that both of these port areas are incredibly easy to blockade because ships have to pass through the choke points of either the Danish Straits in the Baltic or the Dardanelles in the Black Sea. Russia's entire history and geopolitical strategy has been dominated for centuries by this geographic reality and the need to have ports on warmer water that aren't as easy to blockade. If the world warms up by 4 degrees Celsius, though, this entire reality changes forever. Russia's massive northern coast along the Arctic and the Sea of Okhotsk in the Pacific opens up year-round without any ice for the...
Holy Jesus.
I may have been right.
Holy Jesus.
I may have been right. Whoa. Oh fuck. It's like it's all falling to place. No wonder like our plan in motion to just to have more of a strategic positioning and have more influence in the global economy, right? Even though we're a superpower, we could become the power. Oh, wow.
Bruh.
This is amazing. What do you guys think?
Ooh, nobody gives a shit.
I'm sure you guys.
First time ever, allowing Russia to finally...
All right, so we're good. I'm not going to play the whole thing because that's almost disrespectful. We're not reacting to the whole thing. So what happens if the inevitable happens? Like the planet becomes uninhabitable. The whole planet. When we're gone, let's just take a short clip of see what happens. What would happen if we all just disappear?
What would happen if humans disappeared? It could be said that humans have really done a number on the planet. We've created a mess with our industrialization, the creation of toxic chemicals, garbage dumps and oceans filled with plastic, and giant urban sprawls that have eaten up big chunks of nature. With all this stuff happening, it might not be a bad idea.
Oh my God.
Holy Jesus. What is that? What the fuck is that?
Jesus Christ. The fuck?
If suddenly humans disappeared overnight, it's obvious a lot of things would be happening during the cataclysmic disappearance. With that said, let's run a mind thought experiment and see what would happen if humans disappeared.
Okay.
Imagine a world in motion. Humans are controlling all kinds of systems, vehicles, machines, and aircraft. If we suddenly disappeared, it is assumed that the machines that we are operating would come to a halt, but not without a lot of ensuing chaos. Airplanes would fall from the sky. Cars would keep going in the direction they were moving without anyone to control or stop them. And machines we control to build things would either keep drilling, digging, or moving something.
Is they talking about the Rapture?
With nothing controlling these machines, there would be at least an hour to several hours of destruction. It would be a good thing that humans would be missing from this part of our disappearance. This doesn't even include factories, coal and power plants, gasworks, oil refineries, nuclear power plants, and other...
They're talking about the Rapture. Oh, man. You know what? I'm just going to play the video. Fuck it. This is what I wanted to show.
You are one of 7.6 billion people on this earth. But what does that mean? How can those 10 digits properly reflect the size of our species? Can we truly grasp our impact on this planet? There are a variety of statistics, like how many cars are on the road, to take all that away. This is What If, and here's what would happen if all humans suddenly disappeared from the Earth. The second humans disappear from Earth, chaos ensues. Planes, trains, and automobiles, without drivers, would collide, derail, and tumble out of the sky. Within the first hour, mass blackouts would start to occur across the globe. Electricity generated from coal plants would fail once their fuel ran out, while wind and water-powered systems,
straight to the point, I like this,
would also shut down without human supervision. The next day, computers would act on their own accord to shut down nuclear reactors in order to prevent disaster. The world would be completely without power, but nuclear crises would at least be temporarily averted. On day 3, London's Big Ben rings for the last time, since it needs to be wound every 3 days. Big Ben would sound over streets now populated with roaming animals. Thousands of pets and zoo creatures would have to break free or suffer starvation.
Jesus.
Within 10 days, security measures in nuclear power plants would finally fail, setting off a chain of explosions and releasing toxic radiation across the globe. Wildlife in affected regions would die, but elsewhere, other species would prevail. Domesticated cattle and livestock would take to the North American Great Plains where they could graze freely. Supermarkets would be infested with mice and rats, and former pets would turn feral in their bid for survival. Within a few years, the cities we so easily recognize today would look like converted natural theme parks. Nuclear radiation would have cleared, and vegetation would sprout across the urban sprawl. Moss would overtake the streets, while trees and flowers would travel up and along abandoned towers.
Isn't it crazy how much we're a parasite in our own planet? How like the beautiful vegetation and forestry returns, and all the animals are like, "Oh fuck, yes, 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 yes." They're all gone. We can do what the fuck we want now.
After 30 years, the satellites we sent up to explore would fall back down to Earth with no one to collect their data. Homes and skyscrapers will have rotted or collapsed. In some coastal areas, entire cities will have been reclaimed by the sea, and old ships sunk or ran aground would be the foundation of new coral reefs. Despite our absence, global warming would continue for another 40 years after we're gone. The Earth's temperature would rise about another 0.6 degrees, but the environment would nonetheless be improving drastically. By year 60, marine life would have nearly recovered from decades.
It seems like the common thing people are saying is that we can't stop global warming anymore. That it's basically over. It's basically over. Enjoy the ride. It's over. It's fucking over.
Of overfishing and would be thriving. In 150 years, urban environments would be restored to their natural status before human time. London would revert to swampland, and in northern cities like Vancouver, skeletons of buildings would poke out from layer upon layer of snow and ice. Las Vegas might look like a giant sandcastle. In 230 years, vegetation that has thrived in humans' absence will have eliminated excess carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Huge forests will have reclaimed the eastern half of North America, and the only evidence we ever existed would be leftover steel and plastics. Once glorious landmarks would slowly succumb to decay. 500 years after humans disappeared, the world's forests would be the healthiest that they've been in 10,000 years. The natural world would have succeeded in erasing most of the final traces of human existence.
Fuck.
Of course, even after 25,000 years, some of our plastic objects might still be found, along with everything we've left on past trips to the moon. So, if you've ever wondered what it means to be one of the 7.6 billion people on this earth, then think of it this way. It would take more than 25,000 years to hide the fact that we were ever here.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
May Allah awaken the people and help them to see the evil doings of Israel and the United States.
A little bit too feel-goody for me, you know what I'm saying? Just annoying. We've seen that. The 10 undeniable consequences of climate change. All-time 10. All right, we talk about the Fermi paradox. And then we're going to talk about Pelosi's departure to Taiwan. What does that mean in terms of potential war? and how we're basically instigating another fucking war and crisis, potentially Europe's energy crisis. And of course, we're going to end it on the monkeypox cases. All right. And we've seen about Australia and the concentrated population, Senate, and Finland and Sweden joining the NATO, and what that meant, what that potentially means, and what we speculated on. You know me, being conspiratorial as always.
I'm just an average guy who read public documents where the elite said they were going to enslave us and destroy America. And I'm not going to be like yuppies coming to deny the threat to my country. I'm going to fight back.
Yeah.
Number 10, more wildfires. The effects of climate change crop up pretty much across the spectrum, from immediate to century spanning, from barely perceptible to completely world-changing. But of all the consequences, one of the most noticeable is probably wildfires. Since the 80s, the devastating environmental phenomenon has become even more dangerous in pretty much every metric you can think of. Evidence has shown that around the world over the last 4 decades...
And we can see that now. Well, of course, we can see that now. When this video was sent out again? It was sent out, published. 2019. Right, 3 years later. And we're seeing it in more and more degrees, more and more wildfires. To a larger degree.
5 times as often, affect 6 times the land area, and burn 5 times longer. While this is happening across the globe, it's most famously occurring in California. In the last decade, the state has faced 7 of its 10 worst wildfires ever. According to a 2018 study in the journal Earth's Future, trends like this can be attributed to increased temperatures as a result of climate change, since drier soils are more vulnerable to fire. If this trend isn't curbed, it's possible that all of California's forests burn down and make way for plains and grassland by the end of the century. The only way to solve it is to, stop climate change. Easy, right? Number 9.
Yeah. Part of our country is on fire. Literally on fire. And what are we going to do about it? What have we done about it? All we do is stick band-aids on it. I'll just put out the fire. No, it's just natural. It's ravaging more and more cities and people and destroying lives and destroying our ecosystem, in a sense. But we just sit on our hands. Try to whisk away the inconvenience. That's all we're doing. That's all we're doing. Crazy, isn't it? We have led ourselves to the final moments until climate change, until the consequences of climate change becomes. I don't even know how to fucking describe it. Consequences of climate change just become. It makes it extremely difficult. It's going to up your difficulty ranking. Not only are you facing diseases, pandemics, right, and the likes you've never seen, they just keep hitting you and hitting you and hitting you. And that's another way that the earth is fighting back, be it from however you think these pandemics or the origins of these pandemics. It's still one of the ways that the planet is fighting back against us. It's fucking crazy.
Rising sea levels. Okay, you're probably very well aware of rising sea levels as an effect of global warming. Chances are you've already seen pictures like polar bears on shrinking glaciers or a significantly shriveled up map of Florida's coastline.
Right.
One of the most commonly
I
cited
keep
predictions came from the Intergovernmental
I've been
Panel
up
on
for
Climate Change
hours.
in 2013, who calculated that by the year 2100, sea levels could rise up to 1 meter. That could cause coastal areas around the world to become completely uninhabitable this century, except by merfolk, of course. So Aquaman is the only one benefiting from any of this. But fast forward to 2019, and it's looking even worse than that. Due to ice in Greenland and Antarctica melting,
2100, okay?
Models are now expanding what they call likely outcomes.
2100.
That means sea levels could rise as much as 2.4 meters in that time. In real terms, that means the Earth's landmass would decrease by around 1.8.
I would be 108 years old if I lived to be that until the year 2100. I hope I'm still alive for the year 2100. Oh man, I'll fucking go. I'll go crazy. I'll go crazy. I'll probably be the oldest person alive. Actually, I don't know. Maybe they find more like, you know, maybe medical technology evolutionized, right? Is that a word? Anyway, it becomes better and our life expands even further. How's capitalism gonna handle that? Huh? I wonder. It can barely handle us living as long as we do now. You know, the average age being around, like, I think it was 70, 80, whatever. How's it gonna handle of us living until our centenarians? You know, more and more centenarians. People living to be 105, 110. The average would probably be, 130 or something. What is the estimated life expectancy for 2100? What? Let's see. Let's look at that. What's up, bro? Oh, it doesn't show links. I like that. Used to look at memes on Twitter. Huh. So what Statistica is saying is the average age would be 81 plus. Well, 81.96. So 82 years old, right? That's the average expectancy. Right now, we are in the 20. Yeah, about 73. So 74, the average, the projected life expectancies reported by Statistica. Crazy. 81 years old. That means there's going to be a lot of centenarians. I know centenarians are 100 years plus. But if the average age is 81, that means more people are going to live past that age too. Right? Well, not more people, but a sizable chunk of people are going to live past that age too. So how is our system going to handle that? Huh? How is it going to handle it? I'm not buying for Statistica. What the fuck? Medical news today is saying maximum human lifespan could reach up to 130 years old by 2100. Like I said, more and more advancements of medical technologies and allowing us to live longer and longer and longer. For those of us who take care of ourselves and, you know, do the necessary things we need to do. Please show me what's going on. What's up, bro? You just gonna, yeah, I have no idea what this means. What does that mean, Murrow? I don't know what that is. I'm an idiot. 22-year-old alt-right Caucasian male, 133 IQ, 7.75 penis, looking for an anarcho-capitalist girlfriend, must be under 5'6" and at least somewhat mentally stable, willing to settle for a minarchist or right libertarian if above 7 out of 10 in appearance, verbally Atlanto-Mediterranean descent because I suddenly date outside my anthropological subrace. Hit me up, bitches. Oh my god, dude. What that fucking serious? Anyways, let's continue on with the video.
Billion kilometers, roughly the area of Libya. That could mean hundreds of millions
of
displaced people from coastal areas the world over. Number 8,
funny.
Longer growing seasons. As the overwhelming evidence of climate change mounts up, most of the discussions are about what we're losing and what we're increasing, whether it's resources, landmass, or biodiversity. But here's one thing that's not going down. In fact, it's going up. That's the length of growing seasons, which is defined as frost-free periods of over 5 degrees Celsius. I mean, that's great, right? Longer growing seasons means more food and means less hunger. Well, I hate to break it to you, but even that probably isn't a great thing in the long run. It is the case that these conditions are leading to a greater yield of certain crops, and we're even seeing forested areas expanding in some parts of the world. Now that's pretty cool, despite being pretty warm, but the problem isn't so much that itself as what comes along with it. That's because while this can be positive sometimes, it can also lead to greater proliferation of harmful species of fungi and ticks. They damage wildlife, crop yields, and even human populations. So even with longer growing seasons, that can lead to more harm than good.
Looks like it's part of the video. That's
food insecurity. Thanks to ever-improving farming technology over the last few decades, more than 200 million people have been lifted out of hunger. But as the reality of climate change sets in, there's a real risk that progress could be undone just as quickly unless we make real changes. But this is a particularly difficult challenge because the situation is so complicated. Right now, 30% of all emissions are caused by agriculture as an industry. That's according to reports by the World Economic Forum. That means there's already a huge impetus on the industry to reduce its contribution to the ongoing climate crisis. But there's also growing pressure to increase food output as the world's population grows ever higher. That's made even more complicated by the fact that modern farming practices have already damaged soil fertility and harmed biodiversity. The end result is that global production is set to drop by 20%, with more people than ever in need of food thanks to rising populations. So in the next...
And increased life expectancy. Isn't that fucking crazy? Huh? Not only are we breeding like rats, we're living as long as tortoises.
Few decades, we're going to have to find a way to farm more efficiently while polluting
Not being literal
less.
here.
Now that's quite a challenge, but hopefully not an insurmountable one. Number 6, ice-free Arctic. Perhaps the most iconic and terrifying image of climate change is that of the ice caps melting. And often that's framed as a century-spanning problem where they slowly dwindle over the decade until there's nothing left. But actually, it's a lot more urgent than that, at least on a seasonal level. At this point, scientific models are consistently suggesting that within the next few decades, the Arctic Circle will be devoid of ice in the summer months. At worst, it's possible that this could happen within the next 20 years. It's not really Arctic without ice, is it? There's a whole host of issues that go along with that. As you already know, there's the problem with rising sea levels, but even if it's only for the summer months, that can lead to deeper, darker, and more heat-absorbing oceans. This will cause global temperatures to rise faster. That effectively means that the earlier effects of climate change make the later effects happen even quicker. It's somewhat of a snowball effect, but without the snow. That's kind of the problem. All of this means that it's imperative that we stop the unsnowball rolling before it gets out of control. But I want to hear from you. What do you think we should be doing to stop the catastrophe of climate change? Let me know in the comments down below. Number 5, increasing conflict.
Sea levels are rising. What are we doing? What are the people that we put in charge doing?
The problems that arise from climate change are not isolated. They all interact and compound on each other, often leading to some hugely damaging secondary effects. One that's becoming increasingly evident is the risk of conflict. When resources become...
Like I said before, this is the way that the world fights back. This is the way that the planet is fighting back against us, right? A lot of people discount war as a consequence of climate change. This video brilliantly portrayed that. Said like, hey, like y'all gonna fuck around and find out. Y'all fucking around with each other too much. You know, y'all are, tensions are rising so high that the only way to mitigate that tension, or for things to snap, is we act out against each other.
Constrained, whether it's water shortages, food shortages, or uninhabitable conditions, it becomes ever more likely that populations become desperate. That creates an unstable situation that's primed for conflict and exploitation. The Horn of Africa, including Somalia, Ethiopia, Eritrea, Kenya, Sudan, and South Sudan, is particularly susceptible to this effect. Stress on resources can be a major factor in the destabilization of these already uncertain political regimes, which face threats from terrorists and militias alike. And this isn't just an abstract fear, by the way. The signs of climate conflict are already showing up. For example, in 2012, after towns in Somalia had been hit by climate-related droughts, terrorist group Al-Shabaab began cutting off water supplies to liberated towns as a military tactic. So it's highly likely that as climate change effects escalate, more rogue groups will begin exploiting desperate populations.
As I said before, resources become more scarce, people start acting out. The way that the planet is fighting back against us, using war. People, our leaders are seeing the writings on the wall, carvings on the ice, and saying, you know what? We got to do something about it. And this is the only way that we can preserve ourselves and maybe some Americans, you know. That's, oh man.
For territorial gains. Number 4, rising temperature. Now, I know what you're thinking here. Well, yeah, obviously, it's in the name dummy.
Man.
But it's worth mentioning that calling people dummy is rude. It's 17% less water and 98% bleached coral. That's all pretty awful already, but any
Rain
higher than that
patterns,
and things
biodiversity laws,
catastrophic.
humanitarian
The
crisis,
Panel at Climate Change predicts that at
economics.
4 degrees, southern Africa and the Mediterranean could lose half its water supply. Similarly, the Institute for Economics and Peace think tank claims there are currently 1 billion people at risk, many of whom could end up being displaced. But there's another big problem here. I used the term just now climate refugee, but that's not actually a legally recognised status, since refugees need to be fleeing persecution. That means without major change, we could feasibly see millions of people displaced with no legal rights. So that was 10 undeniable consequences of climate change. Which one worries you the most? Let me know in the comments.
Good video. Great video about that. We have to understand that this is for our own doing. You know? It's a simple fact. This is our own doing. Yeah. All right. So, we gotten through the educational portion, maybe with some historical pretense. I try to frame the Fermi paradox in a way that I epiphasized for it to be, you know, in a political lens about us being our own great filter because of, you know, our negligent society and our distrust of one another and our always falling back to the default tribalistic nature that we knew for centuries, and now we are reaching we can see the finish line, right? We can see the large white banner in this marathon. It's becoming more and more visible, and we're just taking the slow but steady steps closer and closer towards complete and utter annihilation. It's a good word for it. Annihilation. Not all of us. Of course not all of us. Most of us, though. That's going to be it. It's going to be the consequences. Most of us are going to feel it. You and I are going to feel it. 9 out of 10 of us. Maybe 8 out of 10. Let's say 8 out of 10 of us. Right? All 2 of us are going to feel it. So, buckle up. Get ready. Because the topic of climate change is going to make its rounds again. I guarantee it. My speculation is that coming during our winter season, a lot of politicians and news sources and outlets are going to bring the topic of climate change up because we're going to feel, I don't know. I have I only can say a feeling that we about to go through a cold ass winter. It's gonna be cold as fuck, and people complain a lot when it's hot. Wait until it's fucking cold, especially in the northern. Oh God. All right. So, why the fuck did Nancy Pelosi decide to visit Taiwan? Right. To escalate tensions even further between China and Taiwan, right? Most of us know now, only on the surface, is that China believes that Taiwan is not their own independent country. And the Taiwanese people themselves I wish TP was here. He probably knows this better than I do. I have difficulty when it comes to international news. He's tripping. Hey, I appreciate the follow. Thanks for following on Trovo. Thanks, Alex.
Our delegation came here to send an unequivocal message. America stands with Taiwan.
Is this music copyrighted? It seems like it's copyrighted. Not only is our imperialist expansion basically poking and prodding the bear known as Russia, is also poking and prodding the dragon in China. Look, we're doing this to ourselves. I don't understand. Like, I do understand why people are doing this. I can't say I don't understand it and just play blissful ignorance. It's just the expansion of imperialism, thus allowing the few people who elect themselves to be elites in our society to reap the rewards and benefits out of your exploited labor and the death of you and your family and loved ones. Because you're only a sacrificial pawn to global capitalism, right? This ideology and this notion that profits above all else, profits above people, you know? It all it matters is to expand until there's nothing to expand no more. And then just hit the reset button and just party all over again like it's 1999. That's, you know, the real goal. That's the real cause of it.
It doesn't matter who we are. What matters is our plan.
You know, it's the biggest reason. One of the biggest reasons that I decided to like reformulate, restructured the way I stream and have a little bit more of sort of like how do I say this? How's the saying go? Like more of like a loose, instead of being like a loose cannon, kind of structure my streams a bit, especially when we talk about political topics and concentrate on specific topics to allow us to, you know, expand and really have an analysis of what's going on around us. So we become more and more skeptical of what's being portrayed in front of us and try to dive into as much detail as possible on these particular topics. And it's going to range from a multitude of things. Trust me, I have a lot planned when it comes to the political black pill. And there's a lot of things in store too. Like we need to start gaming again. We need to start getting back to Dark Souls and Dragon's Dogma. That's going to be fun too. People were tracking Pelosi's flight towards Taiwan. It's all become a spectacle. It's just eventually, like I said before, and I'm gonna say this again, we're only one person's bad day away from complete and utter annihilation of our planet. So let's just hope that our don't even hold hope. This is the political black pill. Let's just sit and wait until this shit really hits the fan, right? And then we could just, you know, do our told you so parade, you know, as the world burns around us. All right. And now, China fires missiles over the islands of Taiwan. We just saw that. Basically, when a country does that and they do their exercises, it's just to show, you know, that we are not afraid to act aggressively. This is just me like stomping my foot loud enough for you to understand. And I'm warning you not to do what you're doing now. Europe's energy crisis controversy as Spain bans air conditioning dropping below 27 degrees. So this was a curious story that I decided to pull up. And because of the excruciating heat as a consequences of climate change from our own recklessness, and our ways to keep ourselves cool, cost a lot. It takes a toll of our energy infrastructure, right? So some countries are outright basically saying, yeah, you can't drain the system as much as we design it to. The system is designed for a few people to drain as much as they want, but for the rest of you lemmings and the rest of you peasants, you are basically subject to extreme new regulations that allows us to continue on this structure we have for our infrastructures. The debate has sparked after Spain's government moved to prevent offices, shops, and other venues from setting air conditionings below 27 degrees in the summer. It is part of the plans to cut the country's energy consumption and limited dependency on Russian gas. The decree published on Tuesday. Oh, I need to hit it with the fucking. Okay. The decree published on Tuesday morning will also stop heating being raised above 19 degrees during the winter. Now, this is just, how do I say this? This is just the beginning, right? I've always been speculating and making predictions that, you know how like third world countries, right? How they deal with all their crises is that, you know, they relinquish the goods and services and also the comforts that their citizenry participates in. So in doing so, these large corporations, I mean, like these infrastructures don't basically fall apart because it was never designed or upgraded or like to handle the scope and the amount of people that necessarily need these resources. Right, air conditionings, you know, all this is powered, and also the planet itself is fighting against these infrastructures, and we hardly done anything about it because we want to save a quick buck, right? So, as the consequences of that, most of the my speculation, what I was predicting and talking about with a few people, is that we're going to start seeing more rolling blackouts. More cuts of our comforts, like kind of how Spain is doing right now. How like California is doing that, you know, with water and like different drier places. You know, of course, there's going to be a reduction in the amount of food that you're going to be able to purchase. It's going to be a huge reduction, you know, to the point where it might actually fix America's obesity problem. There's going to be major cuts. And this might sound kind of reactionary and, you know, kind of controversial, but the way that we handled the pandemic is only a mirror reflection of what's going to happen due to our negligence of tackling on climate change, right? Our ever heating planet, right? This is how we know and how we can. It basically gives the blueprint of how different governments can scope their responses to disasters, right? And how quickly are you to trust and believe your government, trust and believe the officials, and how fast, you know, that happens, the bureaucrats and whatnot. And also, one big giant thing that you need to be careful of too is how quickly you trust the leaders of these corporations, these multinational, multi-billion-dollar corporations. Not all, but 99.9 is a good number to indicate it. It's just the blueprint of it. So coming further and further down the line, my speculation prediction is that those are going to happen. It's going to be more and more regulations on the individual itself, and less in the larger bodies who siphon from our natural resources. Power outages, cutbacks in energy uses. And it's not going to be voluntary either. I mean, at first it's going to be it's going to be pseudo voluntary, right? They're going to say like, hey, you got to do this and you got to do that, but they already have mechanisms to like measure how much energy you use, blah 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 blah. And you know, eventually they're going to decide when to cut your power off. And you'll see, because them doing that also saves them a quick buck. Do massive layoffs, implement individualistic regulations in which people's comforts that they know are going to be reduced, right? To a degree, but prices are going to continue to increase, and the major winners of our society are just going to keep on winning. This is the way that the planet is fighting back against us, using us against each other. Huh?
You're a victim. There we go, CSI.
And you'll be a victim in all this. You'll be a straight up victim in all this, right? Even conservatives can claim themselves to be victims and oppressed, right? As they fight some made up war for themselves while the rest of us are fighting the actual war in front of us. It's, I don't know how to say this. I really don't. I have a solution. I have a philosophy that it's only a temporary Band-Aid. Maybe increase their chances of survival in these coming decades. Notice you see years, decades. It's a slow boiling pot. And you're swimming in it. Huh? They're gonna win. Oh, I ain't going back. This individual family level regulations are gonna happen. Cut back food, cut back energy, cut back all the important necessities we need in life. Shelter is gonna be one thing too that they're gonna recoup from you. So what we're noticing now, and this is just me, I'm just spitballing right now and just talking to you guys. What we're noticing now is a lot of companies, a lot of major investment companies and large corporations are purchasing homes. You wonder yourself, why would they do that? Well, you need a place to stay, right? Right. Okay. If I own this, I could perpetually charge you rent to any degree, right? Well, yeah, right. And if I own this place and if I own this domicile that you live in and you work for me, I could just take it off your check, right? Well, that seems convenient. And I could just increase it and, skim a little bit more off your check, right? And I'm already exploiting you to a massive degree. Why not set up a system in place where, I charge you for living in a place that I own? And you won't be able to purchase it yourself ever, right? Right. The privatization, right? Not not an individual owning multiple homes, but large corporations. Now, you probably can win. Now people are like, why am I singling this out? The difference between a corporation, large investment corporation, versus an individual. Well, you can sue the individual, and your chances of winning in court, with any sort of housing disputes is a lot higher than you suing a multi-billion or trillion-dollar corporation, and their teams of lawyers and the judges in their back pockets and the politicians as well. You're not winning that fight. You're not winning that fight. Hell, they could probably delete you in your own domicile, your living location. Can't even call it a home anymore. This is just your living location. And you can't do nothing about it because they'll have a small article, a small contract, a terms of service in which you will sign, in which any sort of representative who times you out of life, they will feel no repercussions. If your boss could just walk in and just rear naked choke you until your lights are out, permanently. You want to go in here? You see how the planet is using us to fight against ourselves? Temptation. A rich person has a lot of capital. A wealthy person has control of resources. All right, let's continue back. I just went on a whole tangent just reading this article. Anyways. Whew. You loving this? This is a long chapter, by the way. And I'm glad. I'm going to clip some of these chapters too. Post it up on YouTube with some videos, shorts, and whatnot. Maybe spice it up as well. Oh, I'm also Also, if you want to, this is another call to action. I shouldn't even be saying call to action. If you liking what you see here, if you want to help me improve, help the stream improve, your contributions, your liking, sharing, subscribing, following, donating, whatever tickles your fancy, it's greatly appreciated, right? And we love having you here. You know, we're building this guild from the ground up. We had a foundation; it became shaky, so we're taking what's left over, building a stronger, healthier foundation with a healthier system, healthier structure for us to succeed. Back to the article. The rules will be mandatory in all public and commercial buildings, including bars, cinemas, theaters, airports, and train stations. A lot of places of your comforts, right? It is extended as recommendations to Spanish households. Right now, perhaps suggested by the heat wave we're expecting, I would say that with 27 degrees, we will be very hot. Andrea Castillo, a worker at Castilian University, told Euronews. Perhaps we could work at 25 degrees, but not at 27 degrees Celsius, right? So for all of you, what the fuck is 27 degrees Celsius? What is that in freedom units, right? 80 degrees. 80 degrees Fahrenheit. 80 degrees Fahrenheit. They're telling you it could be 100 degrees outside. You can't blow it below 80. Now, I don't know about you. It doesn't really seem like a big difference as much, right? Maybe like 70, that's fine. But people saying 25 is reasonable, right? 25, which is what? 77. This is a big difference. The numbers may seem, it's like a bell curve, right? Almost, right? It's around like 70, I'm most like 67 to 70. It's comfortable. You know, you get to like 70 to 75, you're kind of like, it's kind of toasty in here. It's all right. You go to 75 to 80, it's hot. You go from 80 to 90, geez, you're
Holy Jesus.
it is hot as fuck outside. It's hot inside, not outside, inside. Now imagine if it's 100 degrees outside and your house is barely insulated because it was built in the fucking 1800s, and you set your hard-working horseman AC to 70 to 80 degrees. You ain't feeling shit. It's gonna be like 90 in your fucking house if all things be equal, right? Because you know that your house leaks, right? Not only like water, also your AC or however cool you have it, it leaks. No amount of insulation, there's gonna be small leaks. It just happens. It just happens. Let's see. Okay. I just wanted to check the music. Lord Berg, a civil servant in Valencia, questioned the practicality of the measure. Generally speaking, you can work at 27 degrees Celsius, but to reach the temperature in hot areas, you need to put the air conditioner at 22 or 23 degrees for a couple of hours. So I am worried it would not be allowed to exceed 27 degrees at any time, she told Euronews. In that case, the air will have to be turned on well in advance, and it would be counterproductive in terms of energy savings. My colleagues, I'm not even gonna say that fucking name. Maria Isabella Ruiz agrees. I'm in favor of saving energy, and that requires sacrifices. But these proposed temperatures are not adequate. Well, they're not adequate for you, but they're adequate for the company, because they're not using their profits to upgrade the energy infrastructure. You know, using those profits to like to invest in renewable energy resources and just upgrading the grid to a degree in which most people can live a bit more comfortably, right? Or still live in the same level of comfort that they live today, or even better, or even, a better comfort lifestyles or creature comforts. The government passed the bill as part of the bid to reduce the country's gas consumption by 7%, in line with the recent European Union energy agreements to limit dependency on Russian gas. Politics is creeping up again. Creeping up again. We see that it saves energy and it's good for climate change, but our concern is that it affects families, especially the most vulnerable. Now, this is a talking point that a lot of people use when they're trying to hammer home the point of the scapegoat being the most vulnerable of society, where they're already outside burning hot and homeless. Don't really matter what the hell the inside of your house look like. They're outside dealing with the elements, raw, hard, What do you think, Joe Biden?
You ain't black.
Okay. Let's see. Says Billy Garcia, Secretary. Instead of taking global measures, it should be specified by establishments so that they can have a different temperature. It's not the same to work. For example, in a place where there's a lot of machinery and the temperature is very high, in other types of environment where there's none of that. There are studies that say that the optimal temperature is 27 degrees. Therefore, perhaps instead of raising it to 27, we can stay at 25. Don't meet them at the middle ground. Fight for what's your right. Fight what you need to fight for. Don't sit there and try to rationalize with these people because you've already given them the inch and they're going to take more than a mile, right? You're going to be like, okay, let's do 25. Oh, no. Let's do 26.9. Wait. That's practically 27. 26.9. That sounds fair. Teresa Ribera, Spanish ecological transition minister, said the measures, which include switching off store window lights after 10 p.m. but not street lighting, would initially be maintained until November 2023. She encouraged Spaniards to join cuts, saying it would not only reduce consumption levels but also bring down household energy bills. That is a big fucking lie. That's you really think that they're not gonna take advantage of this? You don't think the energy companies are gonna charge more because they're gonna quote unquote upgrade certain components and then basically feed you into a newer bill? So they might change the chip, change a few poles here and there, restructuring some wiring, change some transformers out and upgrade some of the transformers around the wealthier neighborhoods, and then just say for that we need to increase the bills because now we incur new expenses that are cutting down on our bottom line, and thus we need to pass on those expenses to you. And that's why your energy bill went up $10 every month. All right. And this is just a lookout. Saw the planet's fighting back. All right. On to our final story of today. Finally. We are wrapping this shit up after this. The U.S. declares monkeypox outbreak a public health emergency. All right? Emergency,
Holy Jesus.
Emergency, right? Take us, Trump.
May Allah awaken the people and help them to see the evil doings of Israel and the United States.
So,
the Biden administration is urging every American to take monkeypox seriously and declared the virus a national public health emergency. The CDC says it doesn't have complete data, but estimates more than 7,000 cases have been detected in the U.S. amid a dire shortage of vaccine. We get details now from Nikki Batiste.
The Biden administration says today's declaration will take its response to monkeypox to the next level, freeing up funding to increase testing and treatment. The move comes after weeks of criticism for its sluggish response to the growing outbreak.
Is this move too little too late?
I think it should have been done earlier, but at least it's being done now. It is at a point where we can control it.
Currently, the U.S. leads the world in case count, over 7,000, with more than 1,300 in just the last 3 days. Roughly 99% of those are gay or bisexual men. Announced today an additional...
Now, those are important statistics. You may ask, why are you asking? Why are you saying that? Why are those statistics important? Why are those data points important? Well, we'll get to the second point.
99% of those are...
Where are we at? Hold on, let me...
U.S. leads the world in case count, over 7,000, with more than 1,300 in just the last 3 days.
So our sluggish response, and of course this country's not just getting off a pandemic. We never really finished. We never really ended the previous pandemic. We just rode on to the next one. And most Americans are alleging that this new disease, is just basically the chicken pox or the shingles. So again, we're returning back to it's just a cold, it's just a flu. They're the same talking points to make you complacent, to make you make idiotic decisions when it comes to your health. Now, I'm not going to go into the extreme opposite and say you must worship the doctor, you must worship the medicine, you must worship the pharmaceutical companies. No, I'm not saying this. But a lot of people like to be binary or like to make that case. And I'm just going to nip that in the bud immediately. So if the previous pandemic has not been any indicator of what's going on now, I don't know how ignorant you can be. This is just the way the American society deals with these types of situations. They don't know what they're doing. They feign ignorance. And now, we're just going to have to deal with more and more deadlier diseases coming, more and more atrocious looking diseases. Now, the difference between COVID and monkeypox is showing, right? What do you mean showing? The symptoms, showing symptoms, right? So COVID, I had it myself. It's internal, right? You still look the way you look. You're coughing, you're wheezing, you feel weak, you're laying down. It's awful. It's awful. Terrible. Terrible. Right? Monkeypox, you can see that you have monkeypox. You can see that those sores, those blisters, scabbing. You can see that on your face and your mouth, your body, and stuff like that. So now you would think that more Americans will take that seriously. Well, herein lies the talking point, and the narrative is being pushed, right?
Roughly 99% of those are gay or bisexual men. Announced today, an additional 150,000 doses of the 2-shot vaccine are expected in September, sooner than anticipated. That's on top of the 1.1.
So the next talking point people are going to use
of the one additional 99. With more than 1,300 in just the last 3 days. Roughly 99% of those are gay or bisexual.
So, again, we turn back to history, right? We turn back to the time in which, cases are largely affecting a marginalized group of our country folk, right? The gay population, 99% gay or bisexual men. Let me show you this. Let me show this, right? Because this is going to be used to basically spread about bigotry and the cis people. I'm a cis male myself. They're going to use this talking point to say, "Oh no, you're not going to get it because you're not gay, you're not bi, you're not trans, what the case may be." Well, if the AIDS pandemic was any indicator what's going to go on from the past, then we know what the future holds. Right? And also, how we're not ignorant to a variation, or a mutation of this disease affecting everybody. Are we that dumb? Right now, the data points to this demographic, and it's concentrated here, but it doesn't mean that it's only going to be concentrated there. And as soon as people hear gay or bisexual man, of course the bigoted Americans are just gonna whisk it away and be like, "Oh, that's not my problem." It is gonna be a problem because that could be your family member, that could be a close friend of yours, and now they're affected. You don't even have to come in contact with the gay person to receive a disease. We all know how AIDS work, right? Right? It's not an exclusive thing. This is not something that's gonna be exclusive to gay and bisexual men. Look what we thought about COVID. About it, like it doesn't really affect children. Now it's affecting children more and more. Later down along the line. Are we that stupid? You know what? Yeah, we're that stupid. We're that fucking stupid.
Men. Announced today, an additional 150,000 doses of the 2-shot vaccine are expected in September, sooner.
Oh man, we're basically. Oh man.
Than anticipated. That's on top of the 1.1 million doses already available, but still a fraction needed for those considered to be high risk.
It was one of the most painful experiences of my life.
29-year-old Luke Brown recently recovered from monkeypox.
You have to work really close and hard with the people who provide you medical care in navigating some of the red tape around vaccination and treatment.
Here in New York, the epicenter of the monkeypox outbreak, another 23,000 vaccine appointments opened this evening, but were filled in minutes. Health departments around the country have stopped offering a second dose to ensure as many people as possible get that initial shot and a layer of protection. Margaret?
Thank you. Nikki Batiste in New York. Tonight.
So, again, the United States is put in a position when a large number or a sizable number of their population is going to be affected by a disease. And again, we're failing our people the most. We're failing our fellow countrymen, our country persons the most. The full month of the WHO declared monkeypox a global health emergency. My gay friends in my group text have already figured out how to get vaccine appointments, and what to do if we were exposed, and where to find the best research on the risk and vaccine efficiencies. There were the same group chats that were once contained gossip, lunch orders, and gentle ribbon between friends, but now we're also devoted minutes and blocks of text to a virus that we're struggling to find any information about. This article goes into lengthy details about how monkeypox is largely, for now, affecting our LGBTQ plus people in our country, and how America again is going to find reasoning to ignore them, sacrifice them in the altar of profits, the altar of economy. Watch, it's going to happen. It's bound to happen. We're going to see it again. Another politician gets up and says, "Hey, sacrifice your gay, queer, trans friend for the economy," until eventually the disease mutate because how ignorant we are in terms of responsiveness with our health, and then it starts killing everyone, and we'll get back to the same positions that we are in. And this could be a cycle, nonstop. And people are going to think it's by design. It's going to be by our own ignorance. Nothing we can do about it now. We just sit back. Sit back and just wait for the inevitable. I hate to sound like there's no hope, but at this point, the only way I can give you hope is to sell it. Yeah, dude, that's not funny. That's not funny at all. Can't be doing. Can't be doing that, man. Oh. You see what I'm talking about? Just ignorance. Just lack of empathy for anyone other than themselves, and think like being edgy is fun. No, there's nothing funny about that. There was never nothing funny about that. I would like react like, why would you say that? Ignorant, you're dumb, you do it. But I've already given up on most of you people. It's so tired out and boring, right? It's the same dog and pony show. Something happens, we try to be edgy, we try to get to other people's spaces and just, you know, try to sow chaos, and then chuckle and laugh to ourselves if we said some edgy shit that we're too bitch and pussy to say in real life in front of people, because there's actual consequences, instead of just, you know, being ignored, which most of these bigoted people's life is that way, right? What are we to do? But you did help me figure out something that I need to set the Trovo alerts. I'm better. Trovo's on a list to upgrade too. I mainly focus on YouTube and Twitch for now, because those are the two largest platforms I'm on. Well, larger sphere of influence. It's yeah. So let's see what we got here. Yeah. What a night. What a fucking night. I'm regrowing my beard too. I kind of do like the goatee, but I'm regrowing my beard. I also need to trim up my mustache. What was wrong with me? All right, all right. Y'all know what that is. Y'all know what time it is for that. My name is GX. My name is GXG. So follow me on multiple platforms at GXG or GXG Platform X. On YouTube is GX Entertainment. I implore you to go like, follow, subscribe on all those different channels. This is the conclusion of the Political Black Pill. Chapter 6. The planet is fighting us back. So what is it? The planet is fighting us back. I hope you enjoy your stay here. And for those of you who are going to watch it afterwards, thank you again for your support. And if you want, as again, please hit the like, follow, comment, subscribe if you want to, donate. You can also donate even after the cause. You know, we're building this guild together, right? And we're gonna improve largely. And hopefully you can be part of this improvement, right? Because we can use you more. As always, I'm gonna leave you in a positive note, since we're more pessimistic here, especially when we do our political sessions, political chapters. Be a survivor, right? Find a ways to improve yourself every day, right? Be your biggest cheerleader. You deserve that for yourself. Don't give up. The best way for your haters, for your naysayers, and for the people who you feel or no, don't care about you. It's to find the easy, not the easy way, find a way out that makes them feel vindicated. So live in spite of them, right? Fight on in spite of them. You're more than capable. I believe in you. We believe in you. Only person you're missing out is you to believe in yourself. And as always, stay classy.
automatic. Money add then multiply, I call it mathematics. I'm me, I stay automatic. Money add then multiply, I call it mathematics. I'm me, I say automatic. Money add then multiply. I call it mathematical. I'm me, I say automatic. Money add then multiply. I'm me, I say automatic. Money add then multiply. DJ KJ. Money add then multiply. I'm me, I say automatic. Money add then multiply. I'm me, I say automatic. Money add then multiply. I'm me, I say automatic. Money add then multiply. Money add then multiply. I'm me, I say automatic. Money add then multiply. I'm me, I say automatic. Money add then multiply. I'm me, I say automatic. Money add then multiply. I'm me, I say automatic. Money add then me, I say automatic. Money add then multiply. I'm me, I say automatic. Money add then me, I say automatic. Money add then multiply. Me, I say automatic. Money add then multiply. I'm me, I say automatic. Money add then multiply.
You're a victim.